Good evening. The Prime Minister faced MPs in the last hour for the first time since the Metropolitan Police confirmed he broke COVID laws. He offered an unreserved apology but stopped short of accepting he misled Parliament. We go to the polls in a few weeks' time. The leader of the council, which contains the PM's constituency, says voters care about bins, not Boris. The Labour Party don't agree. From Hillingdon, our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
Boris Johnson's chances of surviving Partygate might depend on people like members of Court Park Bowls Club. It's in the Prime Minister's West London constituency. If voters here desert the Tories on May the 5th, Conservative MPs might conclude Mr Johnson is no longer an asset but a liability.
I'm perfectly happy with Boris.
Are you angry about the parties?
Not in the least.
We're all in favour of Boris and what he's done. And who else could be a leader of the Conservative? There's no suitable candidate.
I think he's got to realise that he made the rules, he's broke the rules, and he's got to apologise. And, I mean, what else can he do?
We accept an apology for whatever has come out, and I think he's apologised to Parliament, but basically he needs to do a little bit more. What that is, I don't know.
The Prime Minister is one of two Tory MPs in the London Borough of Hillingdon. The third seat is held by Labour. And the makeup of the council is also 2-1. But Labour thinks it's in with a chance of taking control.
Things are just so unpredictable at the moment. I think it's going to be very, very close. Either just win or just lose. Whoever wins is going to be there by a fraction.
We asked the Conservative leader of Hillingdon Council to speak to us, but he declined, saying the election was about bins, not Boris, and he didn't want to turn local elections into some sort of referendum on national issues.
And I take this opportunity on the first available sitting day to repeat my wholehearted apology to the House.
In the Commons, the Prime Minister again apologised after being fined and attempted to explain he didn't knowingly mislead Parliament.
It did not occur to me then or subsequently that a gathering in the Cabinet room just before a vital meeting on COVID strategy could amount to a breach of the rules.
The Labour leader offered a withering critique.
What a joke. Even now, as the latest mealy-mouthed apology stumbles out of one side of his mouth, a new set of deflections and distortions pour from the other.
The Liberal Democrats leader referred to a recent opinion poll asking voters what they think of the Prime Minister.
The most common word they used, by far, was liar. Does the Prime Minister understand how profoundly damaging it is to our great country?
At the Bowls Club, tea and biscuits is one of the traditions. So is voting Conservative for these members. Even if Hillingdon doesn't change hands next month, a sizable swing to Labour in the Prime Minister's backyard might be enough to convince Tory MPs his time is up.
So, Simon, this is the start, really, isn't it, of a tough few weeks for the Prime Minister?
Yes, opposition MPs will attempt to pile more pressure on him on Thursday after the Speaker granted Sir Keir Starmer an application to allow MPs to debate whether he misled Parliament. He won't be there, he'll be in India, but no doubt hoping that the Tories' large majority will be enough to see off that threat. Judging by what Tory MPs have been saying in the Commons this afternoon, it does seem that most of them are not ready to make a move to topple him yet, at least until they've seen the outcome of those crucial council elections in May. OK, Simon, thank you.
When the Homes for Ukraine scheme opened last month, so many people registered to offer accommodation to those fleeing the conflict that the website crashed. The generosity of the British public was never in any doubt, but the practicalities of the scheme have been more complicated. So far, fewer than 22,000 refugees have arrived in the UK, and those here ready and waiting to welcome someone into their homes say the scheme is stressful, long-winded and not fit for purpose. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
We've got a new bed for the refugee and we've got a wardrobe so far.
At their flat in Battersea, Emily and her partner are ready to welcome a Ukrainian refugee. But getting a visa for a woman they met on Facebook has been prolonged and tricky.
I had to use Google Translate to ask her lots of difficult personal questions about her marital status, about her previous homes, about her occupation, if she had any terrorist links, lots of really personal stuff.
Emily, like tens of thousands of Londoners, was desperate to help after seeing pictures of Ukrainians forced to flee their homes fearing for their lives. But after submitting the visa application, they heard nothing for weeks.
We couldn't speak to anyone to see where she was in the queue. There was no online tracker. The application went into a void and we just had to wait. It was really difficult. She's waiting on us for her life to restart, basically, and that's a lot of responsibility.
The Homes for Ukraine scheme set up by the government was meant to be a fast-track way of giving sanctuary to desperate refugees. But frustrating delays have become all too familiar to London MPs.
The scheme is not fit for purpose because I know that many people are contacting me on a daily basis who've been waiting weeks for the people they're sponsoring to be processed by the Home Office.
People in Hornsey and Wood Green have been saying, we've got a spare room, we want to help. But unfortunately, the government scheme doesn't seem to match that ambition.
The Department for Levelling Up said more than 56,000 visas have been granted under Homes for Ukraine. In a statement, a spokesperson said, "We have published guidance to help sponsors welcome Ukrainians into their homes, and everyone arriving in the UK through the government's Ukraine schemes will have access to healthcare, education, benefits and job support on the same footing as UK nationals."
We don't know if it's going to work because this is the first time that the UK has tried this, and we are not sure if people are aware of the commitments, the responsibilities of hosting.
Emily is worried about what happens next.
There's a lot more hoops that we need to jump through now, so getting her set up with benefits, with the doctors, with the dentists. Apart from through various charities and the Facebook groups, we haven't been supported by the infrastructure that should be there.
It's taken almost a month for Emily's refugee to be given a visa, but she should soon be in her new home. Simon Harris, ITV News.
And there's more on the Homes for Ukraine scheme and, of course, that probe into the Partygate. On tonight's The Late Debate, here's Simon.
Yes, on The Late Debate, we'll discuss the Homes for Ukraine scheme with the Levelling Up Minister, Lord Greenhalgh, Labour's Sarah Jones and the Green Party's Baroness Jones. I'll also ask my guests what they think of the government's plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. We'll touch on the latest protests by environmental activists here in the capital and the hunt for a new police chief for London, as well as talking about Boris Johnson's latest troubles over the Downing Street parties. That's The Late Debate here on ITV after news at 10.